here, but I didn't grow
Who's your
up
mom and
around
dad?
here. It was Vicki Bauman and Gary Raker.
Sure, they're both.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
everyone says I look like my mom.
Huh?
Everyone says that I look like my mom.
I don't remember your mom too much.
But Dottie and Willard Raker,
Yeah.
that was my grandma and
Yep.
grandpa, and then Jeannie and Donald
Oh, yeah.
Bauman.
Your mom.
Yep.
Your mom. In fact, my daughter went to school with some of them.
What's their last name?
Ricker. That's back in 1947, 48, 49, 50.
Well, Mom graduated in, let's see here, I'm 69. I'm thinking here. See, and she was 21.
You were born in
I was
69.
born in 69.
Okay.
So 20, and she was 21, so she graduated, what, 64, 65?
Probably.
Yeah, my mom graduated in like 64, 65.
Yeah.
And then she had younger sister and brother, and then my dad had an older sister.
Your mom was
What, pardon
your
me?
mom was
Vicki Bauman.
Vicki Bauman.
Mhm.
What was her dad's name?
Her what?
She was a
She was a Bauman.
she was a Bauman.
She was a Bauman, and then she married my dad.
You better
which
get to these
was Rick.
points.
Yep.
get you.
Okay, do you know how to do it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, you just hit that button right there.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, fellas, what do you want to know?
If there's anything that you don't want to talk about, just tell us and.
You want to begin to the time when I started and went in service?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. I went in service.
Just before, thank you very much. I am going to go.
You know, I had quite a time getting your name off the phone there. I couldn't get it on my recorder. I couldn't get the number. And you said something about Delta School. Okay, I'll call it.
Can I write something down? Can I write my name and number down for
You're
you?
right on the back.
And that way, if I forget to get you a copy of Austin Moeller's, you will have this.
Okay,
How's that?
that's fine.
Yeah, people mix me up with Ford because there's so many Fords running
That's
around.
what I thought you said you was.
Yeah, I know, and people mix me up, so.
Okay,
And one other thing, remember, the theme this year is turning points in history. So they'd like to make sure that, if you think
This
of
would-
any of this as a turning point.
this
So,
would be a turning point. Okay, I
To
was
speak clearly.
21 years old when I got married when I was 21. When I was 22, I went to service. I was married a year before I went to service. And I went to service in 1945, or 42. 1942 I went to service. I went to Camp Perry, which is down by Port Clinton, if you know where that's at, on the lake. And I was dumb, I didn't know anything, I was just an old farm boy. And of course I was married, but it didn't make no difference. I still had to go to service. I went from Camp Perry to Camp Crowder, Missouri. I spent 13 weeks in Camp Crowder, Missouri, basic training, and training to be a truck mechanic. Well, when I got there, they asked me what I would like to do in service. I said, well, I either want to be a mechanic or a cook. There's a lot of difference between a mechanic and a cook, and that's okay. They chose to make me a mechanic. So I went to 13 weeks mechanic school in Camp Crowder, Missouri. And then when I graduated from there, they shipped us out to Reno, Nevada. And I went with 433rd Signal Corps. That was a telephone company outfit, activated in Reno, Nevada, and company 433rd Signal Corps was, if you look here, I'll show you what it is. There's battalion headquarters, there's Company A, and there's Company B. There was two companies in 433rd Signal Corps. Okay, so we had somebody represented. We was represented to the 9th Air Force, and that's what we went together in 1942, and I was with that outfit until it deactivated after the war in 1945. My buddies was all like fingers on your hand. You lived together, you slept together, you ate together, you fought together, you done everything together. So we knew everybody real well. But we trained in California, down on the Mojave Desert, and up in the Blythe Mountains. And after we got done training there, they shipped us clear across the United States to Boston. They put us on a ship and we went across the Atlantic. Took us 10 days to go across the Atlantic Ocean, zigzag back and forth to miss the submarines. And when we went to England, and then we stayed in England up until we bounced training in England until we went on the invasion of France. And that's when we invaded France. And to help you guys out, my job was to keep the trucks going. There were three other mechanics besides myself in each company. Like A company had 4 mechanics and B company had 4 mechanics. We both had 50 trucks apiece. And then battalion headquarters was the boss. We had to work for them. Okay, we went in after we trained in England for about 6 months. Seemed like forever. We learned to drive. We had to waterproof our trucks to drive underneath water. You probably wonder why you could drive underneath water, but we did. We waterproofed them. We drive under 6 feet of water. Okay, when we got ready to go across the English Channel, we loaded up in my niece done this for me a year ago. You see this LST here? Landing craft? The one we was on was bigger than this. You couldn't get trucks on this. Am I going too fast?
Nope, but I am going to hold this up like this, if that's okay. No, Ryan, videotape him. Don't worry. Just videotape him talking about it, Ryan, then you can see everything. There you go.
We couldn't get trucks on, ours was bigger than that, so we had 6 trucks on this, and I was the head truck. My driver and I went, because I was a mechanic, and we was Signal Corps attached. We was going to lay this in World War II. I'll tell you about that later. And when we got ready to go across the English Channel, we had 6 trucks on there, and we went across on the English Channel early in the morning, about 7:30, 8 o'clock. It was early. And believe me, fellas, you seen blackbirds flying around the ground, around birds around here. A lot of blackbirds in a group of them. The sky was so full of airplanes that you could not see the sky. They was ahead of the invasion. And that's where the airplanes bombed. I'll show you what they bombed here. These shellers bombed them out over there. So on the shore of France, so we could get ashore. While going across the English Channel, took us quite a while to go across there, and it was rough, and of course there was airplanes, they bombing all the time. And this was 6 days after we'd invaded France. The infantry went in ahead of us. Well, we got within about a mile of the beach to go into Omaha Beach. And we was on this landing craft was an English landing craft. We called them limeys. That's what, you probably heard that old story before, limeys. And after we got in about a mile of shore, our lieutenant, which was Lieutenant Ogden, said, "Sergeant, we got to see how much water we got." So they went over, dipped over the side of landing craft that Limey engineer did there, did at 6 feet of water. He said, Sergeant, can you drive in 6 feet of water? Yeah, we drive. See, we've been practicing driving in 6 feet of water for 6 months. So, all in all, they opened up this front end of this door. They let that down like that. And my driver was Colgo. We called him Kool-Aid. We've been together, like I say, we've been together this whole period of war. We was together for 3 solid years. It's just his brothers. I said, Kool-Aid, we gotta go. And you can imagine open that gate up, there's an old English channel out there. What do? We had to drive in that water to drive to shore. We had about a mile to go in. And come on, Coley, let's go. Let's go. You're scared. You're scared. Drive out in a big puddle of water. What are you going to do if you dive in the swimming pool? Same way. You know. Anyhow, we got in and we went off and went down, kept going down, going down, going down. Kept down. We stood up on top of the seats and it was still going down. What the hell we going to do? We're going to stand up in there, and we stood there. And the water kept coming up, and we stood up on the racks on the truck. And we hit bottom. And there we was out 100 feet from our LST. Now what do? We used to like sitting ducks out there. Well, there was a Army duck. The Army ducks, they come, picked us up, took us back, and put us on the LST. Come to find out what happened, this Limey boatman measured down, there was another truck down in there, and they measured on top of this truck. Instead of 6 feet of water, we had 12 feet of water. And so they took it in, and they rode it, they shut the gate and drove. It was a high tide, drove right straight into dry ground. We wouldn't have had to even stopped out there in the first place. I don't know why we ever did. We always figured out, what the hell are we stopping out here for? We could drive in, excuse my language, but that's old Army stock. And they drove right straight in. We unloaded all the rest of the trucks, 5 trucks. We went in that night. We went on about 2 miles. We got in. You see, the infantry and that artillery had gone in 6 days ahead of us, and they got from here to here, so we had room to go. Well, we stayed in an orchard that night, and we was mighty dumb. So they bombing. Germans was bombing all the time, and coming over about dusk. They dropped flare bombs and light up the sky. Then they could see what they was dropping bombs on. And we thought, well, we'll be smart. We'll sleep underneath our trucks. Dumbest thing in the world. Sleep underneath trucks. That's what they was going to bomb. But anyhow, we got out of that. And the next morning, Lieutenant said, Sergeant, we got to get that truck. So we went back out, took it on the truck, went back out to the beach, and we could see that the tide, when we went in, it was high tide. And then the tide had gone out, so that means the water all receded back. Well, we see the stump. It looked like a stump out there, about 3/4 of a mile. Looked like a stump out there. That was our truck.
Was it a truck?
They took 2 big DC caps, went out and got a hold of it, and pulled it out of that sand, and brought it ashore. We brought it in, and in 2 days, my job was to get that truck running. Lieutenant Ogden said, Sergeant, we got to get that truck running. And when you go through salt water, you got to wash everything out. And we got her going, and from there on, we used that old truck. But going on there, I was in Signal Corps, attached to the Air Force. And the Signal Corps is communication. That's what this is. Grab a hold of that. It's just the end of it. That's what this is not what it's like, but this is what our outfit was to lay here's a, can you see this?
Yeah.
This is imaginary line. Here's the German enemies up in here. See that line just going across like that? Okay. Our air base is back here, maybe 40, 50 miles from the shore, or from the where the enemies is. Well, each day, our American troops try to push back enemy back further all the time, just like a football field. Okay, what our job was is to run this information cable like this up here, someplace like a road like this, where to headquarters of an infantry up there where they had it, and get that communication back to the airfields, so they knew where to strike. And this was quite tricky. Sometimes they'd lay it along on the ground, or they'd put it up on telephone lines in there. And it was something like, it was just about like this. And I knew if I told you about it, you wouldn't believe me when I tell you. But this is what it looked like. And they put thousands and thousands. See, every time that line would go back 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles, they had to move up. So we had to put more lines up to get to back to these airfields. And then after we got up far enough, the airfields would move up, and then we'd have a shorter way to do it. But we had, you seen telephone companies out with these outfits to put up lines and that. Well, that's what our outfit was. They just busy, the line crew would all work together. Like I say, we've been together for 3 years. You knew everybody. You don't need my picture.
They're videotaping it. So
They're
then they're videotaping it so then they can go back and make their notes from everything.
Yeah. Now you guys asked me something. That's as far as,
So what division were you in?
was
while
it,
you were-
the 9th Air Force.
9th Air Force?
Attached to the 9th, 4th or 3rd Signal Corps, attached to the 9th Air Force. We was one of, you see, every outfit, they had to have communications. We didn't have radios like we got now. They had to, that's the reason they had to put lines like that. We had a little old cranky crank phone like that. And it was a world of different it is today. Now they got walkie-talkies and radios, and,
Yeah.
but you didn't have them then.
When you came close to the beach, were there still like those like obstacles out there that were meant to destroy the landing craft?
Oh yeah,
Or
there was
something,
stuff, there was
like
stuff out
those
there, yeah.
Poles. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there
mean,
was
you
poles,
said
yeah.
the trucks and stuff like that.
There's trucks we had to go between them, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Um,
see there,
yeah.
I think I can show you something. No, my niece done it. She would spend a year in. There's Omaha Beach in there. No, that's a camp. That's my family's there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
what were your basic jobs around the camps
My
and
my
the
camp?
bases?
Huh?
What were your basic jobs around the camps and bases besides
in
fixing
basic
vehicles and
in basic training.
no? What were your basic jobs around camps and bases? Just fixing
That was my
fixing
job.
things, yeah.
I was, of course, I had to drill, I had to march and do everything else. Come your turn, you had to do KP. Somebody got to do KP. If you had a bad march, you got KP. You didn't like it, but everybody got their choice of doing KP. As you gain service, after you're in 6 months, you get smart. After you're in 12 months, you get a lot smarter. When you're in 3 years, you're a lot smarter. It's just like school, you learn. And I ended up to be master sergeant in service. And my job was, I was in A company, I was a mechanic, and then I went from a mechanic, I was still a mechanic, but I was motor sergeant. I was the boss of my other 3 drivers, my other mechanic. like I say, we had 50 drivers, beautiful guys, just like your brother. And then after the war, before the war was over with, they was transferring some of the older guys out of service that had been in, and our headquarters, the headquarters master sergeant was over these two places here. Yeah, they was orders. They get the orders, they come back there, and I got transferred from A company to headquarters, battalion headquarters. I jumped from staff sergeant to master sergeant. That's how I said, yo. And that was a good move, really.
Yeah.
And we went clear through Berlin and clear up all the way through, from Omaha Beach all the way up till the war was over. And I kind of forget some of the things I've done over about 60 years. You kind of forget what's in that closet. Yeah. And we ended up in, I don't know what town it was, but went back, I and my wife and a group of people went back over there on a farm tour afterwards, and we went up to this town, I can't tell you what the name of it was, where the war ended. And there sat an American Jeep and an American tank facing down the road where the Russian army come this way, facing down that way. Beautiful thing to see.
Okay, next question.
Were you ever scared that your unit might be put on? Were you ever scared that your unit might be put on the front line to attack first?
Do that one.
At all? Were you ever scared that your unit might be put on the front line?
No, I knew we would never be on the front line,
Yeah.
but I was scared.
Yeah.
Anybody tells you they wasn't scared, they're not telling you the truth. You gotta get scared. Believe me, you know, yeah.
Here, you ask me.
You guys ask me questions, but I get mixed up and I forget where I'm at in this war.
Okay, go on.
But when you talk about going through what we done, to show you how we had to work, we practiced driving our vehicles in the English Channel in salt water. You know what that does? That makes everything corrode. Okay, we got up into Battle of the Bulge up in the Argonne Forest. There was something like 10 below zero, snow on the ground. We slept in tents, pup tents, not big tents, pup tents. It's mighty cold. We had one Dodge Blitz buggy, we call it Blitz buggy. Front wheels wouldn't turn. The back wheels would turn, the front wheels wouldn't turn. How do you drive it down there? You could slide it on snow, you couldn't turn it. And Lieutenant Ogden said, Sergeant, we gotta get that truck fixed. We need it. Oh, we worked outdoors like in my field out here. We didn't have no heated garage or anything. Like 3 of us mechanics. How we go fix that? Oh no. Come on, Ray, what we gonna do? Come on, Woz. Let's watch Newski. That was my truck driver.